You miss her. You keep checking your phone, wondering if maybe she's thinking about you too. You tell yourself you won't reach out, but every hour feels heavier than the last. And now you're at that breaking point where silence feels like punishment, not power. If this is you, it's okay. You're not weak for missing her. You're human. You gave your heart, your time, your energy, and now you're sitting in the quiet, replaying everything, trying to figure out how it all went wrong. Maybe this feels familiar. You wake up and she's the first thought that hits you. You scroll through old messages, wondering if she ever reads them too. You see her online, active, and your mind starts racing. Why hasn't she said anything? Is she already over me? Does she ever even care? You start bargaining with yourself. Maybe I should just send one message just to check in, just to show I still care. But deep down, you know that one message isn't about her. It's about the pain you want to stop feeling. Because no contact isn't just silence, it's a mirror. It shows you the part of yourself that got addicted to reassurance, to validation, to chasing what you already deserve without asking. And that's why this moment hurts so much. Because it's not just about missing her. It's about missing the version of you that felt certain, loved, wanted. But what if this silence isn't rejection? What if it's the space where your power comes back? So before you text her, before you break that silence, ask yourself this. Are you reaching out because she's the only one who can heal this pain? Or because you've forgotten that you can? Most men break no contact because they can't handle uncertainty. They confuse silence with losing control. They start to think, if I don't do something, she'll forget me. But that's the trap. That's how most guys lose their power. By chasing reassurance instead of holding frame. The truth is, women don't fall for men who beg for attention. They fall for men who can stay composed when everything feels unstable. That calm presence, that quiet strength, that's what she remembers. That's what she compares every other man to when you're gone. If this silence feels unbearable, it's because you've been conditioned to think action always fixes pain. You think, if I just text her, I'll feel better. But that's not masculine strength. That's emotional impulse. Real strength is learning to sit with the discomfort instead of running from it. Because no contact isn't about manipulating her. It's about mastering yourself. Most men use silence as a tactic, but real men use it as a mirror. This is the moment where you discover whether your value depends on her response or on your ability to hold your own. When you can look at that phone, feel every urge to reach out, and still choose not to, something inside you changes. You stop needing validation to feel worthy. You stop begging life to go your way. You start commanding it. A core masculine principle most men never understand is this. Your power isn't in what you say. It's in what you can walk away from without losing your peace. When you stop reacting to her silence, you become the man she feels again in her absence. So no, you're not losing her by staying quiet. You're reminding her what real strength looks like. And if you can stay grounded long enough, she won't just remember you. She'll realize she never actually met this version of you before. It's late. The room is quiet, but it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels empty. The kind of silence that hums in your chest like static. The glow of your phone lights the ceiling. Same contact name, same unread thread, same pull you've been fighting for days. You stare at it, thumb hovering over the screen, and for a second, you almost do it. You tell yourself it's just one text, just a small one. Maybe something light, something she won't read as desperate. You imagine her smile when she sees your name again. You imagine the relief, finally breaking this invisible wall between you. But deep down, you already know that one message won't fix the ache. It never does. You toss the phone aside and sit back, staring at the dark window. The reflection looks different now. Tired eyes, clenched jaw, a man trying to hold it together. You whisper to yourself, why does this feel like losing? Why does doing nothing hurt more than reaching out? The truth is, it's not really about her. It's about the silence, the way it exposes the parts of you that were always restless, always chasing. You miss the certainty, the good mornings, the I miss yous, the comfort of being needed. Now all that's left is space, and in that space, your mind turns against you. You start remembering the way she used to look at you, the sound of her laugh when you said something stupid, the way her hand fit perfectly in yours. It plays like a movie you didn't finish, and you keep waiting for the scene where she walks back in. But she doesn't. You pick up the phone again, just to feel close. Your chest tightens. Every instinct screams. Text her, just reach out. What's the harm? But something in you, something small, steady, quiet, whispers back, don't. So you sit there, you breathe, the room stays silent, and slowly that silence starts to change. It stops sounding like punishment. It starts sounding like strength. You realize this is what no contact really is, not a game, not a strategy, but a test. a test of who you are when no one's validating you, a test of whether you can stand in the uncertainty without falling apart. She might not be thinking about you right now, or maybe she is, but either way, this silence isn't about her. It's about you remembering your own weight, the man you were before you started chasing someone else's approval. You lean back, phone still in hand, and let the moment pass. You don't text. You don't move. You just breathe. And for the first time in a long time, the silence feels like peace. Most men believe that breaking no contact will bring relief, that if they just send one message, the anxiety will fade, the silence will stop hurting, and maybe she'll finally understand what she lost. But that's a lie. It's not peace you're looking for when you want to text her. It's relief from uncertainty. You're not trying to reach her heart. You're trying to quiet your own mind. The first false belief is this idea that if you don't do something, you'll lose her forever. That somehow your silence means she'll forget you. But the truth is, you don't lose someone by staying quiet. You lose yourself by chasing where you were no longer meant to go, because when you're no contact, she's not just missing the messages. She's feeling the absence of your energy, your presence, your focus. And that's what hits hardest. You're not supposed to remind her you exist. You're supposed to let her feel what your absence actually means. You have to understand. Attraction doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in space. It grows in uncertainty. It grows when you stop feeding it with desperation and start feeding yourself with discipline. So when you break no contact, you're not proving love. You're proving you haven't learned how to sit in silence without falling apart. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. Read that again. The pain you feel isn't because she's gone. It's because you stopped showing up for yourself the moment she left. You gave all your power to her reaction. Every second you check your phone. Every time you imagine what she's doing, you hand over another piece of your peace. The second false belief is that your value depends on her response. That if she replies, you're wanted again. If she doesn't, you're worthless. But that's not truth. That's conditioning. Most men were never taught how to stand on their own emotional ground. You were taught to measure your worth by how much someone else approves of you. But real masculinity, the kind that creates long-term respect and attraction, doesn't need validation. It creates it. You don't need her to text you back to prove you matter. You prove it by staying grounded when she doesn't. That's the shift. That's when you stop being a man reacting to loss and start becoming a man who radiates value. She'll feel that not because you said something clever, not because you sent the perfect message, but because your silence starts to carry strength instead of need. When a man no longer chases, a woman starts to remember. Not because he played a trick, but because he became the version of himself that she actually respected. So before you text her, take a breath. Look at that urge for what it really is, not love, not connection, but fear. Fear that you'll never be seen again. And that's the part of you that needs your attention the most, because once you learn how to hold that fear without running back to her, you win something no one can take away: emotional freedom. The moment you stop chasing, you start healing. And when you start healing, that's when she feels it. You're not trying to get her back. You're trying to get yourself back. And that's who she was drawn to in the first place. Most men fall apart in no contact because they don't understand what's really being tested. They think it's about getting her back. But the 3% man knows it's about getting us himself back. He understands that silence isn't punishment. It's a mirror. It's the space where you either collapse into fear or rise into strength. This is what he understands. You don't lead by chasing. You lead by standing still in your truth. The average man tries to fill the silence with words, reassurance, or effort, but the 3% man knows that pressure kills attraction. He leads with presence, not pressure. He doesn't rush to control the outcome, because he's learned that control born from fear always pushes people away. He's not unaffected. He feels the same longing, the same ache, the same pull to reach out, but he doesn't obey it. He observes it. He understands that his emotions aren't orders, they're information. So instead of reacting, he breathes. He sits with that tension, and through it, he grows, because the 3% man knows that stillness is not weakness. It's power restraint. It's self-command. Most men confuse connection with control. They think if they can just say the right thing, she'll come back. But the 3% man knows that no amount of words can recreate attraction that's built on insecurity. So he stops performing. He stops proving. He stops chasing outcomes. And in that quiet, something powerful happens. He starts to radiate certainty. This is how he leads with presence, not pressure. When he's silent, it's not the silence of punishment. It's the silence of focus. His energy isn't waiting for her text. It's being invested into becoming a stronger, calmer version of himself. He gets back into his rhythm, training, working, rebuilding, not to make her jealous, not to prove anything, but because he remembers what his life feels like when he's in control of it. He doesn't play games. He plays life. That's the difference. While other men stare at their phones, trying to decode her last message, the 3% man is decoding himself. He's asking, why do I feel like I need her attention to feel complete? What am I afraid of losing if I don't reach out? And that self-awareness, that willingness to confront his own discomfort, that's what separates him from everyone else. The 3% man understands that attraction isn't about making her feel something new. It's about reminding her of what she once felt: safety, admiration, curiosity. And those emotions don't return because you begged for them. They return when your energy becomes grounded again. When your silence feels peaceful instead of anxious, she feels it, even from miles away. That's what presence is. It's not about what you say or how often you reach out. It's about the quiet confidence that says, I'm okay without you, not in arrogance, not in bitterness, but in truth. Because when you no longer need someone to complete you, that's when you become magnetic again. So if you're struggling right now, remember, the 3% man isn't made in comfort. He's built in the waiting. He's forged in those lonely nights when he wants to reach out but doesn't. Every time he resists that urge, he builds self-trust. Every time he chooses patience over panic, his energy gets stronger. And eventually, that strength becomes unshakable because she might come back or she might not. But the man he becomes through that silence, that's someone she can feel even in his absence. And that's someone he'll never have to chase again. He's sitting alone again. Same chair, same silence, same heaviness that's been following him for weeks. The phone rests beside him like a weight, glowing with every thought he's tried to resist. He keeps glancing at it, waiting for something that never comes. Every few minutes, the same loop plays in his head. Maybe she'll text. Maybe she's thinking about me. Maybe she misses me the way I miss her. But tonight, something feels different. The silence isn't as loud as before. It's like the noise inside him has started to slow down. The ache is still there, but it's quieter, more honest. He looks at the phone again, and for the first time, instead of reaching for it, he just studies it. That little screen has had power over him for too long. Every vibration, every unread notification, every imagined message, all of it has been pulling him away from himself. And in that stillness, something inside him breaks. Not in pain, but in truth, he finally sees it. It was never really about her reply. It was about the version of himself that disappeared the moment she stopped responding. The man who forgot how to breathe without validation. The man who kept mistaking attention for connection. He exhales, long and heavy, as if letting go of months of invisible tension. He realizes how much energy he spent waiting. Waiting to be chosen, waiting to be missed, waiting for permission to move forward. But what if the waiting wasn't meant to bring her back? What if it was meant to bring him back? He looks around the room. The same walls, the same shadows. Yet it feels different now, like the silence has shifted. From punishment to presence. For the first time, it's not something he's enduring, it's something he's becoming. Because in the absence of her voice, he can finally hear his own again. He remembers who he was before the uncertainty, before the overthinking, before the constant need to prove his worth. He remembers the man who laughed easily, who had purpose, who moved through life with calm certainty, the man who didn't chase because he didn't have to. A small smile forms on his face, the kind that comes not from victory but from understanding. He picks up the phone, unlocks it, and scrolls to her name. The urge is still there, the temptation to send something, anything. But this time, the silence feels stronger than the message ever could. He locks the phone and places it face down. He realizes he's not rejecting her. He's reclaiming himself, because somewhere along the way, he stopped waiting for her to see his worth and started remembering it on his own. And that's the moment everything changes. Not because she comes back, not because something outside him shifts, but because for the first time, he no longer needs her to. The silence, once unbearable, now feels like peace. And in that peace, he remembers, the man who doesn't need to be chosen is the one who finally becomes unforgettable. The man who can sit in silence, feel the ache, and still choose peace over impulse, becomes the kind of man she remembers long after the noise fades.